What if our most fundamental assumptions about artificial intelligence are leading us astray? Every day, our most advanced AI systems make bizarre mistakes, like confusing a dog for a power plant or suggesting that we put clothespins in a cake. Today's episode will explore why these aren't just simple errors, they're windows into a deeper truth about intelligence itself. Our artificial neural networks possess extraordinary capabilities to detect patterns, but they consistently fail to grasp what seems obvious to humans. Now, the secret to this paradox may lie not in how these systems process information, but in something more fundamental: the relationship between meaning and motivation. Our AI systems can analyze millions of chairs, but they don't experience the fatigue that makes a chair meaningful in the first place.
Like the water's surface, our thinking reflects the world around us. But concealed beneath this surface lies a vast ocean of complexity. Layers of intuition, emotion, and hidden drives shape how we think, how we learn, and how we perceive. As we strive to create truly intelligent machines, we must dive deep into these unexplored depths of the mind. I'm Evan Goldstein, and this is Deep Thoughts, an exploration of human cognition and the future of artificial general intelligence.
What do these images have? You can probably spot right away that these are all writing tools, things we use to write out our ideas. You probably made that connection in a heart. Andrew Young, who's a well-known AI guru, once said that if a person can do something in under a second, a neural network should be able to handle it as well. Now, if that's the case, I should be able to show an image classifier that can identify these writing instruments, and it should be able to identify it really fast. Problem: I could get started on this with some basic Python libraries, write the software. I can't say for sure how exact it would be or how accurate, but here's a crucial: no matter how much data I pour into it, it's going to have some weak spots. It's going to mess up when I throw it writing tools it hasn't been trained on. I would need to bombard it with millions of examples to cover all the possible variations of a writing tool. It's just a complete data monster. Over the last 10 years, neural networks have really taken off in the technology space, but there's a big question that's come up. Why do these neural networks struggle so much when it comes to adapting what they've learned to new but similar situations? Now, this episode is arguing that the root of the problem is in the basics. It's in the assumptions that we're making with these networks. And that's why some people think that if we want to get past this issue, the whole field might need a major makeover. Whenever I decide to use a neural network to figure out what an object I'm looking at is, I'm kind of working with an unspoken idea. There has got to be a way to dig out and piece together what, in this case, a writing instrument is, from the way that those color pixels are laid out on a two-dimensional surface. Maybe I can spot it in the pictures or in the objects that they show. Either way, I'm banking on the thought that looking at tons of images and data, or even 3D models of these objects, might eventually help me figure out what makes them writing tools in the first place. But here's the deal with neural network classifiers. They run on this basic idea that you can find the truth hidden in the world of statistics by diving into the data. It's like they think concepts are some fancy data features plus. People usually treat our brains like machines that dig up these patterns and then build mental blueprints from them. But there's another line in the same review. There's a hypothesis that is consistent with the idea that humans have named categories and classes because of the statistical structure that's been discovered by their brain, and then that gets propagated to other people through their culture. This idea isn't just shaky, it's just wrong, whether you're aware of it or not. You and me and everyone else put concepts into the world with every new idea that we have. And every time we do that, we're cramming the world into boxes that we've made in our own heads, not the other way around. Now, if you look at these writing tools, you'd never seen those exact pictures before, but bam, You knew that they were for writing. Did you crack a mysterious pattern that was buried somewhere in those pictures? Think about it. Why did you have a notion of a writing instrument in the first place? What made you learn this concept and then name it and then be able to identify it in the world? What's the common thread that ties all these things together in your mind? It's pretty simple. Whenever you have to jot something down or draw, you just grab one of these tools. A writing instrument has a function. It has a job to do. It's there to get you out of trouble, in this case, not being able to write things down when you need to get out of that problem. It's amazing when you think about it. The idea of a writing tool isn't really about the objects themselves, it's about how you use them. It's your interaction with these items that shapes what they mean. If one of those things, like a dried out marker, say, didn't work for writing, you wouldn't see it as a legitimate writing tool anymore. It would just be junk. Now, think about what we call medicine. If you were looking through a bunch of medicine images, you might see things like traditional herbal remedies, and whether you think they fit in that collection of medicine depends on where you're from and what you believe is real medicine. In some places, certain plants are seen as strong medicine. In others, they would be considered just quackery, junk. The plants don't change, only how we relate to them does. If the basic idea like a writing tool and medicine can be so flexible and so subjective, what can we say about concepts like beauty or distance or intelligence? These concepts aren't set in stone. They're shaped by your intentions, and they aren't something that you can pin down just by looking at data. Trying to do that is pointless, futile. Think of it this way. Let's say that you're trying to get someone to pick up a new language just by giving them a vocabulary list instead of letting them experience conversations with native speakers. Yeah, they'll catch some words here and there, but they're going to completely miss out on the idioms and the cultural uses and how people actually talk every day. To really get the hang of a language, you need context, lots of practice, and to soak up the culture. Now think about teaching someone through flashcards. You're showing them one phrase at a time and you're hoping that they're going to nail the answer during real conversations. It's a difficult concept, and honestly, they might just end up in awkward situations. Like they could drop a very formal phrase when everyone's in a relaxed, familiar conversation, or they could miss a slang word. Imagine how much easier it would be to learn a language if you were actually living in a place where it's spoken just like with children and with family members. You'd learn because you have to. Meeting your everyday needs would teach you naturally. That's the edge that humans have when it comes to learning. Now, think about a neural network as a blind music critic, trying to judge paintings just from descriptions. It can't see anything, it can't touch the textures, and it doesn't get the cultural meanings yet. It has to figure out patterns in the data to spot art styles, writing tools, and even medicine. As someone who's into data science, it can be very frustrating to see it mess up or make decisions based on criteria that don't even matter, that I didn't want it to be judging. It just seems to lack any common sense altogether. When engineers try to make AI smarter, they crank up the number of equations that it can handle, the tricks it can do, the number of examples it remembers, and how well it connects the dots. They use adversarial training to try to nudge it back in line when it strays off. And they also use tools to spot and fix random, incorrect associations that it makes. It's like they're just giving AI a makeover to make it seem like it knows what it's doing. It's all about slapping stronger tape on something that's already falling apart. The real meaning that's still in the engineer's head, well, there's just nothing in the data that's going to solve it. It's like AI is trying to win a dance-off without hearing the beat, and we're the judges, and we get all annoyed when it trips. That's why these neural networks are so wobbly. It's like they're in this huge library where they can read the words, but they miss the actual story. They can't wrap their heads around anything because they don't have a point of view to start with. Without motives, making sense of data is impossible. Notice those last two words. You don't find sense. You make sense. Even though Have you ever thought about how retirement planning is just gibberish to a kid? Kids couldn't care less about financial security 70 years down the line. But when you're an adult faced with bills and responsibilities and the looming specter of old age, suddenly all these things start to matter. What drives me shapes what I notice. What drives you shapes what you notice and how you notice it. Things you never had to think about as a kid start to creep into your brain as you grow up. Someone could have tried drilling these concepts into your head back when you were a child, but they wouldn't have stuck because you wouldn't have understood their point. Every new goal or motivation basically flips your world upside down, like going through a little personal revolution. Helen Keller once said that getting language for the first time was like discovering a brand new world. When she got that symbols could actually signify things in the real world, it blew her mind. It wasn't just more information to tuck away. It was a complete game changer in how she lived her life. So here's what it comes down to. We've spent all this time building neural networks that are basically trying to win a game that they don't even understand the rules to. They're pattern matching machines in a world where patterns aren't enough, where meaning comes from why we care about something, not just what it looks like. And honestly, that's why they keep tripping over their own feet when they meet anything slightly different from what they've seen before. Until we figure out how to give these systems something they actually care about, some reason to exist beyond crunching numbers, we're just going to keep hitting the same wall over and over. Question isn't whether our current approach is broken, it's whether we're ready to do something about it.
Our understanding isn't just a collection of facts and observations, it's a living, breathing thing that grows and changes with our own desires and needs. So this shoreline behind me was just a fun place to play once. When I was a kid, this shoreline behind me was a fun place to play. And when I got older, it became a place to come think. Each phase of life brings new meanings to these ancient rocks and new significance to the endless tides. Meaning doesn't exist independently in the world, it emerges from our goals and our experiences. Artificial intelligence is excellent at pattern recognition, but it's going to require the capacity to develop authentic needs and desires if it's ever to give those patterns any meaning.